Sussex bowlers put their side on top in Bristol. With 3 promotion places up for grab in Division 2, the final few rounds of the Specsavers County Championship season are set to be packed with close-fought contests. Gloucestershire are well placed, sitting in second place, 30 points ahead of their opponent Sussex. The South Coast side haven't given up hope of finishing in the top 3, third place Northants just 16 points ahead of them. Sussex look to put their hosts under pressure with the ball, taking the opportunity to field first under the clouds in Bristol. And with conditions favouring bowling, the start was understandably cagey, as Chris Dent and James Bracey looked to play themselves in. Haynes, though, would find the breakthrough the visitors had been looking for. Dent caught at first slip by Jordan to depart for 7. Roderick followed, unable to score before David Visa took the top of his off stump. Bracey, meanwhile, was doggedly resisting one of Division 2's most potent attacks. He brought up his half-century as he hit Rawlins into the onside for his 7th boundary of the day. He was unbeaten at lunch, the home side going into the interval at 86 for 2. The experienced Chris Jordan would finally bring an end to Bracey's innings, dislodged for 61 as he edged through to captain Ben Brown. Smith would follow in the same fashion, albeit for 61 runs fewer than his colleague. George Garton followed suit, a short ball extracting an edge from Hammond, Rawlins making no mistake with the catch in the gully. Charlesworth and Higgins added some resistance to the second session, the side beginning to approach 150, but the dangerous all-rounder would fall to Visa, an edge held well by Salt at second slip. As the clouds darkened over Bristol, Gloucestershire reached tea at 165 for 6. Nine balls into the evening session and Sussex had another, Jordan the man to remove Charlesworth. Ollie Robinson struck, Jack Taylor his first wicket of the match. Will Beer then had Matt Taylor bowled for 4. David Payne and Shannon Gabriel would stick together long enough to see Gloucestershire to 200 before the West Indies international fell, caught by Visa off the bowling of Garton. Sussex got their own innings up and running in imperious fashion, Salt and Wells both batting in confident form, the former going at the home bowlers, while the latter soaked up pressure at the other end. Salt took a liking to Gabriel, and in the day's penultimate over plundered 16 runs with 4 consecutive boundaries, reaching 50 in the process. They'd reached the close of play at 73 for 0. Sussex by far the happier of the two sides, as they go into day 2 in control. Sussex bat out rain-affected day to get their noses in front in Bristol. Inclement weather on day 2 meant a delayed start was required in this contest. Sussex had finished the first day in the ascendancy, Salt and Wells at the crease, unbeaten on 73 for 0. The bowlers had put Sussex in charge, the experienced Chris Jordan picking up 3 to help his side restrict their hosts to 200. And when play did resume with the morning rain having moved on, the Sussex batsmen picked up where they left off, finding the boundary regularly and reaching 100 unbeaten. But Gloucestershire would find their first breakthrough as the visitors reached 3 figures. Payne the man to extricate Salt, caught by Bracey to depart for 64. But they'd be unable to build on that momentum as bad light stopped play. When they did return, there was just 35 minutes until lunch, but Haynes would fall just before lunch, the catch at first slip quite brilliant from Bracey. They'd reached lunch 39 runs in arrears, a good session for the visitors despite losing Salt and Haynes early on. Payne would find a breakthrough as play resumed. Wells removed for 42, a third catch for Bracey. Delray Rawlins handed Payne another wicket, looking to hook the Gloucestershire bowler, only to top edge a catch to Roderick behind the stumps. Bad light would see an early tee taken, conditions gloomy in Bristol. They'd find their way back on as the light improved, and Sussex batted their way to 200, surpassing their hosts' total as Van Zyl and Brown enjoyed a 44-run 5th wicket partnership. It'd be Van Zyl who'd go, LBW to Matt Taylor for 28. They'd once again be forced off due to poor light, but make it back on with 17 scheduled overs left to play. Brown's innings would come to an end at the hands of Ben Charlesworth. He'd have another soon after. Chris Jordan caught behind for 6. Will Beer would do well not to follow his colleagues and stuck in to see Sussex past 300. Stumps would be called at 313 for 7. The visitors lead 113 with 3 wickets in hand. Payne's bowling had kept Gloucestershire in contention in this match. Just when Sussex had started to seem settled, he'd strike. But the South Coast side will be more than happy with their day's work, knowing they have plenty of time to put their hosts under pressure, not just with the bat, but with the ball. Gloucestershire stumble as Sussex bowlers apply pressure. Sussex had enjoyed the better of the action on day 2 in Bristol, but David Payne had kept the home side in contention with an impressive spell of bowling. It had been a weather-affected affair, and the same issues reared their ugly head in the morning of day 3. When play did start, the game had been delayed by an hour, but David Visa and Will Beer were undeterred by the conditions. The partnership were 50 runs soon after the session got underway. Both men looked to attack the Gloucestershire bowlers. They swept past 350 as Visa punished Gabriel and Beer took on Smith. The big South African was removed by Higgins, caught by Charlesworth for 67. Beer's dismissal was an unusual one, treading onto his own stumps as he fended off a Payne delivery. Higgins would wrap up the Sussex innings. Ollie Robinson out for 6, the visitors dismissed for 370, the lead a healthy 170. There'd be time for a few overs of the Gloucestershire reply before lunch, Bracey and Dent taking the side through to the interval at 24 for 0. Bracey would be the first wicket to fall after the break, caught by Ben Brown off David Visa's first ball of the innings. Visa would pick up the next wicket too, Roderick caught by Haynes for 8. Chris Dent picked up his 1000th first-class run as Gloucestershire pushed towards 3 figures, and he'd follow the career milestone with another half-century added to his collection. A change of bowling after the hosts reached the 100 saw Delray Rawlins strike in his first over. Miles Hammond caught well by Jordan for 10. Dent's innings would come to an end at the hands of Garton, the division's 3rd highest run scorer removed, and tea called. Tom Smith would fall to Ollie Robinson, another bowling change helping Sussex find another wicket. Charlesworth would be next to go, Robinson having him trapped LBW for 15. Higgins and Taylor would stabilise the innings and take Gloucestershire to within touching distance of 200 runs, when bad light intervened. The players were removed from the field of play and they wouldn't return. The score 197 for 6, the lead just 27 runs. Gloucestershire hold just 4 wickets in hand going into the final day, one which is almost certainly set up for a Sussex charge. They'll know that quick wickets on day 4 will ensure that second innings target is a low one, preferably a double figures total. The home side hopes rest with Ryan Higgins. He has the quality to produce with his side under the pump, but whether he'll be able to do it without support remains to be seen. The tail will need to chip in if they're to take anything from this game. Gloucestershire slipped to 3rd with defeat to promotion rivals Sussex. The hosts had finished day 3 with the bat in hand, their score of 197 for 6, giving them a lead of just 27 runs over Sussex. They'd be looking to bat for time, knowing that they'd need to at least post 3 figures to trouble Sussex when it was time for the visitors to bat. For that, they'd need to rely on the lower order to play well against a potent bowling attack, but with the talented Higgins at the crease, there was still hope of avoiding a potentially damaging defeat, even if that hope was slim. But they'd slipped from 6 to 7 down after just 4 fourth-day balls. Chris Jordan finding Taylor's edge, captain Ben Brown making no mistakes behind the stumps. Higgins too fell to Jordan in his very next over, Ollie Robinson taking the catch low down at first slip to see the all-rounder depart. David Payne and Matt Taylor would halt the momentum for a time, taking the home side past 200 and frustrating the bowlers. Delray Rawlins combined with Chris Jordan to remove Payne for 13. And the Sussex spinner would bring an end to the Gloucestershire innings. Gabriel bowled for 2, the side retired for 243, Sussex requiring just 74 to win. And with time remaining in the morning session, Sussex had the chance to knock a few off before the interval. They'd reduced the target to 60 when Payne picked up Gloucestershire's first. Wells caught on the hook by Charlesworth at fine leg. A further 10 runs were added when lunch was called. Sussex 24 for 1, just 50 needed to win. Haynes would fall to Matt Taylor after the interval, caught by Bracey for 10. But there the wickets dried up. Salt leading the assault, now joined by Van Zyl. An expensive over from Jack Taylor saw the target drop to just 1. And Van Zyl would get it, pushing a single into the offside to seal an 8-wicket victory for Sussex. The result meant Sussex added 23 points to their total and ensures that they remain in the mix-up for the final promotion positions in Division 2. They're now just 11 points behind their hosts. Gloucestershire had started the week in second place, but defeat sees them slip down the table and lose ground on the chasing pack. Their advantage over Durham is now just 9 points. They face Worcestershire next week before finishing their season at home to Northamptonshire in what could turn out to be a winner-takes-all clash. Sussex travel to Derbyshire in their next fixture before ending their season against Worcestershire.